Welcome to the Whiskey with Winners podcast, the show with business titans sharing their stories of the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite glass of whiskey, and listen to the real and raw stories of these industry leaders. Now, here's your host, the man, the myth, the legend, the most interesting marketer, Jacob Fail.
What's up, everybody? It's Jacob Fail, the most interesting marketer, and I have a very special guest today. He has several books that are Amazon bestsellers. Him and his girlfriend have tons of copywriting books as well. He is a copywriter extraordinaire. He's worked for Agora before, done tons and tons of different things. He has a rags to riches story, and I'm happy to call him my friend and hopefully get to come play some poker and have a good time with him over in Phoenix. So welcome, Carlos, to the Whiskey with Winners podcast. How's it going, brother?
Great, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on the show. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. I can't wait to get in. One of the things I'm going to do now is actually plug in my microphone, and maybe you guys can hear me a little bit better.
Yeah, sounds good, brother.
Perfect. You guys should still be able to hear me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So kind of take us back to young Carlos. Let's hear where you came from. Like what was it like growing up, and give us the scoop on everything.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I love it over here. It's like the best place ever for me, at least. But when I was in Miami, it's great. It's hot, a little bit hot in the summers. But when I was in Miami, I was just like a normal kid, I suppose, but I got introduced into martial arts when I was about 12 or 13 years old. And from there, that really transformed my life. I mean, it changed the types of people I hung out with. They were better types of people. It gave me a role model, a different type of father figure who was not actually my father, but just a different type of father figure. It was really cool. And after about, I don't know, when I was from 12 to until when I turned maybe 21, 22 years old, that's when I started teaching on the floor with my martial art instructor, and I was horrible. I was literally losing class. I was like losing students. I mean, I was good at punching and elbowing and kicking and all this cool stuff, but when it came to trying to transfer that to somebody else so they could be good at it, I was horrible. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't talk. I was basically just like grunting the whole time like a big ape. Or a little ape, because I'm 5'9", I'm very short. But right. I was like, all right, guys, here you go. You gotta use this left hand and go and do this. I'm like, gosh, this is horrible. I can't do it. Everybody was quitting, right? You can't learn from a martial arts instructor like that. And so my instructor at the time was like, all right, you're good at the punching and kicking stuff. You're not that good at the communicating. We got to get you fixed up on that, because we're gonna just like go out of business otherwise. This isn't working. So, we did a bunch of different sales training, things like that. And nothing really worked for me. I was just a really shy kid, and it just didn't really work for some reason. I mean, I would drench in sweat as soon as I would try to read a script to somebody. It just didn't seem authentic. It wasn't working. He realized that. He was like, geez, this is nuts, man. We got to figure out how we can train this kid. Like, we've been spent like 10 plus years training him how to punch and kick, but he can't even talk. This is terrible. And so then he goes and he introduces me to this thing called copywriting. And copywriting, the way he told me, was salesmanship in print. So if you can do this writing of copy stuff, then that'll help you practice what you would say in person when you're speaking to somebody. So I was like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. It's like another kind of non-confrontational way of learning sales if you're really new. And that's how I looked at it. It was like a self-development tool. And it was really just a self-development tool to become a better copywriter, or not become a better copywriter, but to become a better martial artist. So I could teach martial arts. That's all it was. One thing led to another. I eventually started my own martial arts school. I quickly realized that the copywriting skill that I was shown was really an amazing survival technique or tool, because I didn't realize this until I opened my school, but copywriting helped us. I mean, when we were sending out flyers trying to bring people to our school, I was not using good copywriting principles, and we didn't get anybody. And then when I started using a good headlines and before and after pictures, a little bit of copy stuff, we started getting people coming into the school. And that's when I realized, man, this copywriting stuff isn't just for self-improvement. It's for making money. This is why Seafood White Woods, who was my instructor, it was harping on copy so much, because he was like, dude, we got to get this copy going. He was sending direct mail. He was doing email marketing. I mean, this was years ago before a lot of people were doing it, right?
Right.
So that was my kind of introduction to the marketing world. I came up through that, and when I started doing it for my own martial arts school and seeing results, it gave me a little bit of confidence. But I still wasn't too confident. I wasn't going to charge somebody 10 grand for a sales letter. I could barely write my own sales page, right?
Right.
But I had friends who I had met on the internet in these little Facebook groups, and different people. I was asking people, I'm like, hey, can you check out my copy for my martial arts school? Can you check out my copy for this? And different people were critiquing it, saying, hey, you know what? This really isn't that bad. If I shot you a few $100, could you write my little page? I'm like, yeah, a few $100, sure. Right. I mean, I didn't realize that's normally a few $1,000, but I'm like, a few $100, give it over. I'll write that sucker. And so I started writing sales pages for other people, emails, stuff like that. And it kind of just snowballed to the point where I was making more money doing this stuff online, writing copy for other people, than I was at my martial arts school. We had over 100 students. And I was like, that's insane. And I'm doing it. And that was like a very short, like we made 6 figures in 6 months or something doing this slinging copywriting stuff. And it took me more than a year to do that in gross revenue with my martial arts school. And I wasn't even profitable. I was like, this is insane. Right. So eventually when I say we, it's my girlfriend and I. We were writing copy together. She didn't own the martial arts school. She was my other business partner. I eventually said, listen, man, to my buddy, I was like, I don't think this is going to work out anymore. I don't want to sell the martial arts school, really. You don't have to give me anything. You can just have it. Like, just take. We're not really making that much money. We've got a bunch of students, but our rent is 10 grand a month. We're basically breaking even. It's crazy. I'm making 10 grand a month or more just writing these words on a Google Doc. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So I transitioned to that. And the rest, as they say, is history. I just went all in on becoming a copywriter, started writing for different people, from Agora to Ryan Stewman to whoever your favorite guru is. They've probably written some piece of copy for them, or their copywriter outsourced it to me and my company. So it's pretty cool how far we've been able to go. And now we're just starting to transition to selling our own different things on the internet, like our own offers and different niches and things like that. And it's awesome, man. It's cool. It's a crazy little story though, because it all came from martial arts, and somehow martial arts helped us make money.
Right? Yeah. So tell us the story. So at one point you were just sleeping like on a mattress in a spare room, and you were like, in a bad situation. Tell us about that story. You were like stealing water from a water hose or something.
Yeah. So those are two different stories of just the me sleeping on the floor is when we started our martial arts school. We didn't have anywhere to eat. We didn't have anywhere to sleep. We were staying at a buddy's place. He threw a mattress on the ground. He's like, yo, you can stay there until you get like a place of your own and stuff, Right. So that's when we first started our martial arts school. We didn't have anything. We were starting out in debt. We already owed 10 grand a month to a gym or for rent, and we didn't have people paying us. So we started out in debt, right? So it was a crazy experience for me. After that, though, once I started selling our own stuff on the internet, there did come a time during that transitional period where I left the martial arts school. I started making money. But what happened is when I started making my initial little bit of money on the internet, it was new to me. I'd never touched 2 grand in my life. So 10 grand in a month was like, I am rich.
Right.
Nothing. Now. So I just started blowing it all, and I started spending it like as if it was coming every single month, and it wasn't. And then there came a point where I lost basically all my money, and we were stealing water from our neighbors because we had our water shut off. Our toilets weren't working. Our water, nothing was working. Our electricity got shut. I couldn't make the freaking bill. The only thing I could pay was the rent to stay in our house. So I'm like, we have to have a shelter. We have to have that. We don't need water. We just need a fucking shelter. And so so whenever our neighbors would leave for work, we would just go, we'd get big buckets, and then we would go to their outside little watering hose or whatever it is, we'd fill it up with it's terrible. We laugh about it now because I was actually stealing from them. I mean, I didn't put two together that the water bill probably shot up a few months. Yeah. But whatever. So I told them this stuff, and they laugh about it now. But we filled it up with water. We used that water to, put it on the top of the toilet so you can flush the toilet. We used it to brush our teeth. We used it to fucking shower. It was a crazy experience and a crazy time, and it reminded me of what happens when you're irresponsible with your money and when you think that money will always come in. It's not the case. Sometimes you have these big wins where you're riding the wave up, but if you're a new entrepreneur, what happens, you just start spending all the money on the way up, and when you start plateauing and when things start looking down, even if it's temporarily, you haven't prepared yourself. What you should have done is stack the money so that when you start going like this, your lifestyle doesn't change. But what most people do, what I did, our lifestyle going like this, or our money went like this, our lifestyle went like this, but then our money went down, and so did our fucking lifestyle. It was bad. So I just remember I told myself I'll never put myself in that situation. And you want to make sure you have 6 months to a year backed up of money so that if God forbid you don't close any deals, nothing happens, you have 6 months to work and make it happen, right? So my first goal after I initially experienced that was like, I'll never be put in this situation again. I have to have 6 months to a year minimum. So if I don't work, I may not be able to go out every single day and party type of deal, but I can at least pay my bills. I can pay my food. I don't have to worry. I don't have to have like stress, right? There shouldn't be a need for financial stress if you're making some money. You just have to be smart with your money.
Yeah, definitely. Now, did you always know that you were going to be like an entrepreneur, like growing up? I know that you were in the martial arts studio. Did you kind of have that entrepreneurial tendency, like, hey, I want to own my own business, or, were you?
When I was maybe like under 10 years old, I don't even know. I was a little kid, 7, I don't even know. I remember eating cornflakes cereal, and on the side of the box or the back of the box, they had a raffle, and it was like whatever, $1 or something to join the raffle. It was something crazy. I'm like, a raffle? So they pay to get a ticket, and then maybe they win something? This is fucking genius. And so I created a raffle at like 7 or 8 years old, and with just a bunch of pieces of paper, and it was $1 for this piece of paper. I just put raffle on it. It was $1, and at the end of the day, somebody was going to win like a bouquet of roses or something, because my mom had roses in her backyard and flowers and shit. I was like, I'll just pluck some flowers and give it to them. But see, I wasn't actually that ethical as a little 6, 7-year-old hustler. What I was thinking, I was like, I went and sold something. I think I actually only got one person actually give me, and they gave me like $2 or $3 because they just felt bad. But so one person actually gave me money. I came back home. I showed my mom, and she's like, "So who won?" I was like, "I won. I get the money." And she was like, "No. Someone has to win. You said it was a raffle. You only had one person actually enter it. One person has to win." I was like, "Oh," and that's when I learned that you have to deliver on your promises, or you're gonna get busted. So it was a good learning lesson, but that was something that I think sparked my entrepreneurial mind, because I was already a shy kid, but when it came to asking people for money, I was okay with knocking on the door of a random stranger asking them for money. But I was already a shy kid. When I would go to the store with my mom, I'd be looking down. I wouldn't make eye contact with adults. But for some reason, the only thing I was okay with was this adventure of trying to get money. It was like, I don't even know why. I think it was because when I was growing up, not like we were broke or poor or anything like that. I think we were just an average middle-class family growing up. And the thing I remember was that my mom and dad always said, whenever I wanted something, they'd say, "Oh, we don't have pennies for that. We don't have pennies for that." I remember hearing, "We don't have pennies for that." I was like, what the fuck? We don't even have pennies. We don't have pennies. And so I was thinking of these raffle things. I was like, I'm going to have dollars. I'm going to be balling. You know what I mean? They don't have pennies. I just have a dollar. I'm going nuts. So I think I've always had the entrepreneurial thing in me. I just didn't always have entrepreneurs in my close circle, so I didn't know that's the path I was going to go down. And I was actually going down a path of crime, because I thought that was the only entrepreneurial route I was going to go down. And then I was like, oh, that's the bad version of entrepreneurship. We can go this route and make even more money and not have to go to prison. Let's go that route. Right. And so Dwight Woods, actually, my martial art instructor, back to him, he's the one who kind of instilled this entrepreneurial thing in me, showing me, yeah, you can be a bad guy, tough guy, whatever, but you can also be a smart entrepreneur and do things ethically. You don't have to be some dumb gangster dude, because you're stupid.
Right. Nice. So how important for you, like on your journey, was it to hire mentors or hire coaches and getting some guidance, or did you kind of learn it all yourself and just, the school of hard knocks?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people think they do things themselves, but then they forget all the help they had along the way. Like my martial art instructor helped me from 12 years old until like 25 years old. He's the one who guided me through martial art. I needed a coach to learn how to punch and kick. When I needed to learn how to communicate and talk to people, it wasn't in school. My martial art instructor taught me how to do that. He was my coach. When I needed to learn how to sell and make money, I didn't have a teacher for that except my martial art instructor. He was my coach. He mentored me and trained me on how to sell. So I always had a mentor and a coach, even when I didn't realize it, because some people say, well, I used to just pay him for martial art classes. I never paid him for business classes, but he mentored me in business and life and martial art and a lot of different things. And as I got older, I realized that, and I'm happy I realized that, because I think some people just let their ego get in the way and say, I did it all myself. I'm like, no. I definitely had some pushing, or else I could have gone a completely different direction. And so when you realize that you did have help, for me at least, it triggered something like, well, I naturally suck at a lot of things. I've always been like, I was never a natural in virtually anything except for punching and kicking. Other than that, I suck, not coordinated. I can't throw a football, can't throw a bat, I can't do shit. I don't even know what an end zone is. I'm terrible at this stuff. But whenever I practiced, I was the only one who would stay and practice until I got good at something. I've always been like that. When I was bad at my martial art kicks, I wasn't good at martial art. I actually was bad. I just forgot it. I'm good now. But for years, I was really bad. But my coach would make me sit there, and I would stay there for fucking hours after class, literally 2 or 3 hours after training for a couple hours. And I was a kid, so it's not like I had a real job or anything. So that's what I could do. But I was working that. Yeah, but I suck at most things when I start, and the way I've always gotten good is just through just working at it, and that's it. And then if I have someone who's helping me work at it so I don't make the wrong mistakes, because you can do the same thing over and over again, but if you're doing the wrong thing over and over again, you're just building the wrong thing over and over. That's the habit you're building, the wrong thing. It's silly. So if you have a coach say, okay, do the work, you got the work ethic, very good, but do it this way. Now you've got someone correcting you and fine-tuning you along the way so you always get better. And I mean, I do that with poker now. I suck at poker, but I play poker every single day for money. Every single day I play poker. Right. I only recently started to win more than I started to lose. But you know why? Because I got a coach. I got a coach, and I can't even pronounce his last name. It's horrible. Seth Bias or Bias or some shit. He's my coach. I've been working with him for a month. Instantly, like 5x the type of money I'm making now because I'm not losing. Right. I'm folding more than I play, but I'm doing it based on his strategy. Something seemed counterintuitive. I'm like, why would I do this? This is so dumb. I have like these good cards. I want to play. And he's like, fold that shit. So I fold it. I have to listen to my coach, and I win. And so, for everything, anything I've ever wanted to get good at, or anything I've ever really wanted to get results with, I've always gotten a coach because I let my ego out of the way and I let them drill me like a fucking racehorse. Just tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
Yep. 100%.
I'm getting all excited.
Whew. I know, right? Good stuff. So, like, what unexpected challenges, or like what what hurdles have you faced in business and in life over the past years whenever you're starting your copywriting business? And I know it's hard starting your own business and going out on a limb, and just kind of tell people like what experiences you've faced through that.
Yeah, well, when my buddy Vit and I started our martial arts school years ago, we had built it. We had one other partner, and he was a silent partner who helped front some of the money, obviously because we were broke. And so he made us an interesting deal, and it kind of screwed. We shouldn't have accepted it. It was stupid, but it was a good lesson for me, so I'm happy it happened.
Right.
We had to get to, I forget the number. I'm going to make it up because it's actually not the right number, but let's say we had to get to 110 enrolled students by December 22nd or 23rd. And if we didn't get to that amount of people, then we would just leave. We would be gone. And everything we've worked for in the gym is gone. So we get nothing if we don't hit that number.
Deal.
Horrible deal. We agreed to it though. So 2 days before Christmas comes around, we're at like 102 members. We're less than 10 members away from the actual goal. And they say, hey guys, we had a deal. Thanks for helping so far with the school. Really appreciate your commitment, but I think we're just gonna have to have you guys leave, and we're gonna try and bring another partner in. I'm like, what the fuck? We just built this to over 100 people because we're short 7 people or 5 people. You're kicking us out 2 days before Christmas. The days we hadn't been paid because everything we made was going into the business because there was no money. So we were living in the hood, doing other shit, trying to make our rent. And this was like finally a couple days before Christmas. We're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna get a nice little payday. We've been putting shit to the side, and we got kicked out. And we had nothing. Zero. And then 6 weeks later, my buddy Vit and I said, man, fuck that shit. We just got this like really angry thing. We're like, if we're getting, it can't go much lower than this. Let's just start another school. And so we started another martial arts school like 6 weeks later, very fast. And we sent a big email blast to our list, which is a very smart thing we did because we didn't. That's one thing I got from Dwight Woods, Miami. He's like, always have your list. That's if anything ever happens to you, as long as you have your list, that's your biggest asset. So we had the list. We didn't get everybody, but we probably had 40 or 50 people transfer over. And that was like, boom, that was a big chunk. We took away 40 people from these motherfuckers who kicked us out. And they came to all, because we were the only face of the school. So for the members, it was actually really weird because they didn't know there was a third party partner. It was just me and my buddy. And then one day we were gone, and they're like, what the fuck just happened? So for them, it was easy to transfer over. But that was a very interesting time for me because it was a couple days before Christmas. We worked our ass off, busted, really killed it. and then got paid zero, got kicked out, and it was our fault because we agreed to something we shouldn't have agreed to. So when I look at it, before I was just young and really angry about it, and I'm glad because it pushed me to do stuff. But looking at it now, the guy was a savvy business guy. It's not the type of deal I would work with somebody, but I mean, when you're in business, you're dealing with sharks, and you can't be you can't get upset when you got fucked with a shark. You're in the ocean, dude. What do you think is going to happen?
Right. That's right. And sharks never sleep. Sharks never sleep.
Bro. Become a shark.
Right.
And just be a better one. You don't have to fuck people over. I wouldn't fuck people over. But that lesson showed me that this guy had made $10 million plus, the guy who had invested. The guy was a real, he crushed, he did a lot of good shit. But for him, everything was just systematic agreements. It was emotionless. And that's something I learned from. I mean, he was a very good operator. He wasn't necessarily a great person, but he was a good operator. So if you can combine the being a good person with also being a good business person and good operator, that'll take you a long way because people actually want to work with you too. And they know they can count on you.
Nice. So what do you think some of the biggest controversies are with copywriting? Because whenever I first got started in the whole internet thing, I didn't know what the hell copywriting was. I thought it was like trademark lawyers and the C after everything. Like that's what I thought copywriting was, right? And then I learned and read books and, read some of the copywriting books by like Dan Kennedy and Eugene Schwartz and different things like that. And in your books, and started to learn oh, this is, selling through words, right?
Right.
So what's the biggest controversy or myth around the whole industry and around copywriting in general?
Wow, man, it's interesting because I can't really pinpoint one. At least I'm sure there is, but I just can't pinpoint one main thing that's across the board. But little things that I'll talk about with clients when they say, I don't want to use this type of direct response, aggressive copy online. For example, I had one client who said, that sales approach. First off, let's reframe it. He has a sales letter that's following a traditional long form direct response sales letter approach. It's working, but he doesn't like it because it seems cheesy to him. But it's working, but it's cheesy to him. So he wants to change it completely to have an animation of two dogs talking to each other and making it very funny and cute, like as if it's on a TV show. And I'm like, dude, you're not, I get what you're doing, but you're letting your feelings interfere with what's working. It's irrelevant. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean anything like that.
Right.
It's not selfish. It has nothing to do with you. Just, it works. This is a structure. Follow the structure. So for me, I think a lot of people get too married to their business or too married to their product, so much so that they sometimes make the wrong decisions because it's they're letting their emotions get in there. I don't like this, or for example, I wouldn't use $19.99 because I know $19.99 really is $20. That's just silly. I think that's cheesy. We're gonna straight up and tell people it's $20. That's stupid. Right. You're just gonna lose. You should make it $19.99. It's proven to work. Get your emotions out of the way. So I think not so much copy things that I'm like, oh, people are making these huge mistakes. It's more along the principle of they let their emotions and their feelings get in the way. And I think there's a big push, not a good push necessarily, but there's a big push on the internet where everybody's like, be your authentic self, do this, do that, do that. And I've coached some of these people and they don't even pay rent. They're living at home with mommy and daddy and they're talking I only want to work with these types of coaches and these types of people because it's my authentic this. And I'm like, yo, focus on what works. Focus on the system. Focus on natural principles of selling and direct response. Because just because you don't like something doesn't mean it doesn't work. And it doesn't really mean implementing your business just because it's your business. Sometimes your business needs to have things in there that maybe you don't like how it works, but it works. It's ethical. It's making money flow. It's silly to take it out. It's like taking out a freaking important part of a race car just because you don't like how it looks. It's retarded. It makes the race car win. Let it win.
Yeah, exactly. So that's awesome. Where do you think your business will be in the next 3 to 5 years?
I want to have the biggest army of copywriters working with us in our Copywriting Unleashed mentorship. It's also for a selfish reason, because what I notice is whenever we get projects and clients, if I have to outsource it or hire other copywriters because we have more projects coming in, a lot of copywriters aren't trained in the same way that I kind of like things done, right? They're always late on deadlines. They don't communicate, a lot of different things. And so what I said is, you know what, I'm just going to only outsource stuff to people in my mentorship. So if I ever have anything that I need outsourced, I don't even look outside of my mentorship. So for me, it's a good reason. It's a good way to make money, teach other copywriters how to become copywriters, but it's a selfish reason. The only reason I would ever teach people how to become copywriters, since I'm myself a copywriter, is because it also benefits me. Because now when I need to have copywriters do stuff for us, I don't have to guess who I'm going to hire. I just go to my 70 copywriters I know in our group and I say, which one of these are the best fit? And it makes my life a lot easier. It's a win for the client. It's a win for me. And it's a win for the copywriters because they get some easy clients being sent to them, and they also learn a skill of copywriting.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And so when looking, since that you are going to like have a army of experts, when hiring a copywriter, you know, an expert in that field, what would you look for, or what advice would you give to people out there? Because I know a lot of people, they want to outsource their copy, but maybe, you know, they've been jaded before, you know, they've been burned or whatever. So like what advice would you give to people whenever they're looking for a copywriter?
You know, copyright. So it's not that difficult to find an average or above average copywriter. So that's not really hard. That's like the minimum qualification. You have to be able to write some kind of copy, obviously, right? But that's not the only thing I look for. The main things I look for, assuming you've got that down, is, are you the type of person who responds quickly? Are you the type of person who lets their ego get in the way? Do you have deadline issues? And here's what I mean. If I'm saying, hey man, I got like $5,000 I want to send you for this this one client or something, and you know, it's like X amount of emails and it has to get done. If the copywriter says, all right, man, well, you know, I'm not available for a call today. I probably won't be available for another couple days. You want to schedule it in 4 days or 3 days? They lost me because I need it urgently. I need it now.
Right.
And so they can tell me, hey, I'm really busy. I'm probably not going to be able to work on it for another 3 or 4 days. But if you have 10 minutes to hop on the phone right now, we can iron it out so that way I can get it done. Then that's the type of person I want, because they're a winner. They're a person who stays in front of this stuff. They're not reacting. They're very proactive. They say, hey, I'm going out of town one way or another. I'm not telling them to miss their trip. But I also don't want to just be put on the back burner because you don't think this is important enough. If I get that feeling, then I'll never refer business to you, right? It's like there's plenty of other people. And so the copywriter, like Jeff Anthony, is a great person who's in our mentorship. Everett Farnell as well. They're really good. They're really fast. They're good at writing copy. But they started hitting deadlines. And whenever I need to get on a call, I'm not like a slave master type dude. Like, I need to get on a call right this freaking second. But I'm like, hey, man, do you have time today so I can get on a call? They will, for the most part, do anything they can to make 10 minutes of time that we can hop on a quick call. If someone isn't able to do that, I just don't want to work with them because we're already working long distances. I need communication to be like top notch. And without that communication, I can't work with somebody. I don't care if they're the best copywriter. Most of the best copywriters in the world are assholes and they have an ego and I don't work with them. So the only way they can get jobs is by being an employee who gets royalties at a company because they're so good, they can act like, but because they have a salary, they're really good. But if you're a freelancer, you can't treat your clients like that. You can't be an a-hole, right? So anyways, just food for thought. You don't have to be the best copywriter in the world to make a lot of money. You just have to be good enough to convert, which is not that difficult, and have good like interpersonal skills.
Yeah, right. So with that, like what resources would you recommend for people to get, like if they're just now learning copy, say they don't want to outsource just yet, they want to kind of dip their toe in the water, what would you recommend for them, like maybe some books or some podcasts or something like that? Feel free.
Well,
you can feel free to plug your podcast.
Let me try to give you guys something else other than my stuff. Man, that's great. I usually have this book right here next to me at all times, and I don't have it now. How silly. Okay, so other than my stuff and Tiffany's stuff, you should definitely get ours. Carlos Redlich, Tiffany Alford, the Copywriting Domination Method.com.
Right.
But other than that stuff, I would check out Evaldo Albuquerque's book, The 16-Word Sales Letter. I think he's the top or one of the top copywriters at Agora Financial, which is a huge company, really good at direct response copywriting marketing. So I would study that. He's got some he breaks down sales writing and copywriting in an interesting way that I haven't seen it done before. It's nothing really revolutionary, like if you've been in the business for a while, but the way he breaks it down is a little bit clearer, and he also gives you different formulas that I wasn't aware of before. And I use it now in every single sales page that I use a specific. I actually had it written right here. It's called a new opportunity plus new desire, or plus desire plus a new mechanism, right? And so I have a template. I'm just going to give you Evaldo. You don't even know me, but I'm giving you some props here, man. Okay, right. So Evaldo's thing is I template it out, or he template it out, and I do it. So I'll give you the template. It's new opportunity plus desire plus new mechanism. That's how you write a well. I'm not going to try and teach this shit. So let me see if I can give you an example. For anybody who's writing this stuff down, write this down. It won't make sense yet because I'm probably talking about it a little weird. Just write this down. Blank is the key to blank, and it's attainable only through blank. So let's do this. Let's say we have a copywriting mentorship course, right? Then, so we'll go with that template. Getting clients on demand, that's the blank. Getting clients on demand is the key to growing a six-figure copywriting business. And it's attainable only through the Copywriting Unleashed mentorship. So what it does is it creates this unique mechanism and positions your product and your service as the only solution for that one thing. And it's a really simple way of framing your copy that it just gains altitude in any negotiation. And when I talk about negotiate, I'm talking about negotiating through like in copy. It's obviously not a real negotiation. They're reading the copy and I'm negotiating with them as they read it. But yeah, it just you really well. It's a simple technique and a simple thing that you can apply in your copy. And that's just one of the formulas in this guy's book. It's in like the first chapter, second chapter. And I was like, oh, what? Write her down. Write her down. So, I would check out his book, Evaldo Albuquerque, 16-word sales letter. It's like 30 or 40 bucks. It's 80 pages. I almost thought it was like fluff because I was like, it's 80 pages. It's like 40 bucks. But the reason it's only 80 pages, it's because it's all hard-hitting stuff. There's no fluff. So highly recommend that. Cheap buy, 40 bucks. And if you want to get real hands-on mentoring, then you should join our Copywriting Unleashed mentorship, and we'll show you how to get clients, how to close clients, and how to write copy.
Nice. Awesome. So a couple of questions and then we'll wrap it up. What do you think separates businesses that fail and businesses that succeed?
The leadership. I mean, marketing, of course, is important and all that stuff, but it always comes down to who's pulling the trigger on the decision. So if a business is failing, it's the top person's fault, whoever it is. It's their fault. They're not putting enough in marketing. They're too scared. They're not leading from the front. They're barking orders and not actually doing it themselves. Whatever it is, it's leading from the front, and it's the leader's fault. So anytime, I mean, what's the big difference between a good business and a bad business? Is a good leader.
Yeah. Definitely, 100% agree. Now, what's one piece of advice that you would give people, since you've grown a successful business? What's your best advice for people out there that are looking to grow a successful business?
Whether they're paid mentors or free mentors or mentors where you just exchange services type of deal, get yourself some guidance. But the thing is, don't get yourself too much guidance. The thing that a lot of people screw up on is they hear, I need a mentor, and they go pay 10 different mentors. And all 10 have different advice because, well, they may all be successful, but we've all done our own little things to get to where we got to go. And so when we teach somebody, we may have some unique things that may be countering what somebody else suggests. So if you're listening to too many people, it's a surefire way to not get any results because you're just going to overcomplicate it and it's not going to be simple anymore. So pick one person that you think at each stage. If you're just trying to grow your business to 6 figures, get someone who's making like $400,000 or $500,000 a year. You don't need someone who's making 8 figures a year. They're too far away, too far removed from what 6 figures is even like. They're used to that every month or every year or every day. I mean, so I would get somebody a little bit further ahead than you, not too much further, but just a little bit further. Get to where you want to get to with that mentorship, and then start looking for the next person above them. And what I notice is what helps you get to maybe 6 figures may not be what helps you get further because different things are involved. The first part may just require a lot of hard work, effort, hustle, but that's not what's going to take you to the next level, or you'll just bury yourself into hustle. You have to have systems, you have to have a team, and there's other things. So you just kind of do it in stages. If I would have gone to a billionaire and said, help me grow my business, he would tell me, you have to incorporate this. You got to get this lawyer. You probably got to get this. It would have been way too complicated when I haven't even made my first 10 grand. Right. So get yourself a mentor that's just a little bit further above you, and then get what you can with them, and then go to the next one.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, perfect. So let's talk a little bit about some fun stuff. So let's just get into some personal stuff with you. So what is your favorite thing to do outside of writing copy? Like, what's your favorite
Playing
hobby?
poker.
Playing poker? Nice.
That's it. I'll
As
play
long
poker.
as long as you're
So,
winning
well,
now.
yeah. Well, now I'm winning. But
Yeah.
see, I'm used to losing at almost everything in the beginning, so that doesn't stop me. So
Right.
thankfully. But I think poker today, I'm going to play for maybe 3 hours or so. I usually play 2 or 3 hours a day. Not like a professional poker player who plays like 12 hours a day and that's their only source of income. But I
Right.
got to practice them. And if you're just, you know what I like? I like being just slightly better than the average person. So then when I play these home games or when I go to the
Right.
casino and tourists come, you just rake in all their money.
Yeah, definitely. Next time
And then
I'm
you
in
leave when
Phoenix.
a real pro shows up. You leave
Yeah.
when a pro. Whenever I see someone who can chip, because I can barely shuffle chips. I can do it a little. But if I see someone doing some fancy shit with their chips, I'm like, I'm going to leave.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Next time I'm in Phoenix, we're gonna have to play some poker. We'll have to go
That's great.
shoot some guns and play some poker.
I love it, man. The American way.
That's right. So, what is your favorite dish? What's your favorite food to eat?
Steak and spaghetti, but not spaghetti. It's what my mom used to make. A little bit burnt steak because that's what I'm used to. And
Right.
but it's funny. I like red. Whatever. So steak and then some spaghetti with garlic and whatever. That's it. But just plain spaghetti, no red sauce or none of that shit.
That's how I eat it too.
I don't want to. I just want some plain old spaghetti with some butter and some like garlic stuff on it, and then some steak, and that's about it. And like a good water and a joint.
Right. So what is your plan for, like, what does Carlos want to be known for in his life? Like, what's your legacy?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know, man, because it may change. I thought I knew all this stuff, but shit changes quickly. I don't know. What I do know is I want to have within the next 5 years the biggest, like I said, the biggest army of freaking copywriters in our mentorship group, and I just want to run it because a lot of copywriters that I've known, copywriting is an interesting game because we're all a bunch of introverts, and it's what I've noticed is there's very few copywriters who kind of stay. And I'm going to call guru status because guru status doesn't necessarily mean you're the best copywriter in the world. So let's not get it twisted. But
Right.
they don't usually stay in guru status for very long. They do a promotional period. They get to guru status and then they kind of stay and stop promoting themselves. And they're like this legend from years ago that promoted themselves hard 10 years ago, but you don't really hear about them much, but they're like whatever. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be 60 years old and still have ads running every single day so people see my face and see my business. And if I replace myself, then that's fine. But I want our business. I don't care about having my face as like the thing as much. It's just kind of what's easy to do right now because it's easier to make yourself a guru and do it than it is just do it with a specific brand. But I think in the future, what I'd like to do is obviously build my brand up and my personal thing, but I'd like to have different coaches who are in charge of stuff and really build them up. Similar to what Tony Robbins does. Tony Robbins is the main guru, but his coaches are badasses themselves. I mean, Luke Wren is a guy I met, and he gave me some amazing advice right before I went to speak on stage. He was like, because I probably still do. I haven't spoken on stage in a minute, but I used to get really sweaty. I would drench in sweat, and I always thought it was nervousness. Or it probably was. I don't know. But in my head, I was like, gosh, I suck. I'm just so nervous. Oh my God. I started getting nervous because I was nervous. I'm like, it was no longer about the content. I'm like, I'm sweaty. Now I'm nervous about the sweat that I can't control in my hand. And I'm like, it's messing with my, all this nonsense. And then Luke is like a big dude. He's like Tony Robbins' right-hand man. He's like, dude, Carlos, you're not scared. You're getting pumped, man. That's why you're sweating. You're getting fired up, pumped. This is the deal. You're ready. And he got me like in this zone where I was like, dude, that's right. I'm not scared.
Got you in your peak state.
That's why I'm ready.
Got you in your peak state.
Dude, he got me going. I've never done this shit. I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's talk copy.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, awesome. So we're going to have to link up again. Next time I'm in Phoenix, we'll link up. So how can my followers, how can they reach out to you? How can they get acquainted with you?
So what I would suggest, if you're a copywriter who's interested in growing their business and getting more copywriting business, check out 3hourcopywriter.com, the number 3hourcopywriter.com. So 3hourcopywriter.com. Check that out. We have it's like $7 or something. We're probably going to raise the price eventually. So, but at the moment it's $7. It used to be $5. We raised the price to $7. So don't call me on my bluff. Right. We'll raise it. But it's $7. We show you how to get 30 or 40 plus appointments as a copywriter every single month, like clockwork. If you're interested in hiring me or my team as a copywriter or our copywriting team to handle all of your stuff, just send me an email at thecopycloser@gmail.com. Again, that's thecopycloser@gmail.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the Whiskey with Winners podcast. Maybe we'll do a follow-up episode whenever I'm actually in Phoenix. So look forward to that. And thanks for being on the show, Carlos.
100%, man. I can't wait to do it again.
Thank you for listening to the Whiskey with Winners podcast, your home for real and raw stories of industry titans. Make sure to click the button below to subscribe. Follow our journey on Instagram at Most Interesting Marketer and Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Remember to always stay humble, stay hungry, and stay focused.
Everything that I'm saying is out of context. Wait, it's not even really a contest. See, if you already know, then I'm next. Looking at a bodybuilder like Y Flex. I'm dope in the pot like it's Pyrex. And I do it big just like a T-Rex. A T-Rex, I'm the best to ever do it. You know, could be so dope when he flow to the fucking music. Like, this shit is nasty for real. Yeah, I'm dope. You don't even have to ask me for real, man. Damn, I think I'm going wrong. I'm going hard. Woo. Who you know could come up with the bars? I'm a shooting star. I shine bright in the fucking night, and they can't tell me that I'm doing wrong. I do it right, like I'm at the top. So who you know could really top that? Yeah, and tune in to the podcast.